A new Rutgers University survey finds more than half of Americans are unhappy, worried, or pessimistic about the economy. CBS News contributor and Republican pollster Frank Luntz addressed these issues with a focus group of 25 people here in Studio 57.
The phrase of 2014, income inequality. You hear it on television all the time. People are talking about it. In the polling that we've done, a majority of Americans believe it's true. But what do you think?
The reason that there's income inequality, in my opinion, is because there's no manufacturing in this country.
That's because all of the jobs have gone overseas because of the greed of the corporate executives who make millions of dollars while firing other people who need the jobs.
The children of the wealthy have their ticket written from the day they're born. They're going to Yale, they're going to Harvard, they have jobs waiting for them. It's all set in stone. Everybody else has to fight for it, and the corporations aren't creating any jobs.
I have a 27-year-old, and I encouraged him after he graduates, leave this country to go find a job.
So you would leave the country?
I lived in Australia for a year, and I made minimum wage over there is about $20 an hour. Why would I stay here for $7.50?
I write you a check for $10 million, and here's the catch. You cannot return back to America. You can take anyone with you. You can live in Canada, Mexico, wherever you want to live across the globe. Check for $10 million, but you cannot return. Who would take the money? Raise your hands. You see, that just blows me away. You would go and not come back.
I would go for free right now, actually. I feel like there's no future for me here. As a young adult growing up, an African American, I don't feel like that.
That breaks my heart.
It's true.
I had to do things that I never had to do. I'm going to the National Guard, which, I mean, I am going to serve, but I never thought I would be doing that. I mean, I have a college degree. In Europe, they pay for your education. Canada, they pay for your education also.
How many of you think the next generation is going to have it even more difficult than this generation? Raise your hands. This, to me, is devastating.
Look, here's the thing. You've got a Congress full of millionaires who are funded by corporations that are interested in their little cut. No one is looking out for America.
Are you nervous for your kids?
Yes, I am.
And yes. What do you think their future will be like under the current system?
I'm hopeful that it will get better. I do worry, but I wouldn't take that check from you. I wouldn't leave this country.
You'd stay here?
I still think it's the best country in the world.
Would you take my check?
No.
Why not?
I agree with her. I still think this is the best country in the world, and I still think that you have the opportunity here.
What does it say? I'd like you to answer this as a mom who wants her children to succeed. What does it say when you are so pessimistic that you think your children will be worse off than you?
It eats at you. And the only thing I can see is education and praying that businesses will get some tax relief, bring jobs from overseas, and have some jobs for my kids when they're done with school.
So the tax policy has to change.
When you say tax policy, you mean tax the rich?
No, I don't even necessarily mean increase the taxes on the rich. I mean remove the loopholes. You have major corporations.
You agree with that?
Like General Electric.
You agree with that?
Yeah. Billions and billions of dollars who pay no tax.
Exxon, BP, Amoco paid very little in taxes.
How about
compared
Apple and
to
Google, too? Yeah. Just the liberal companies, too, don't pay taxes. They all shelter taxes. Doesn't matter whether they're Democrats, Republicans, liberals, or conservatives. They all shelter taxes.
Last question. Is it Washington's fault, Wall Street's fault, or both? Washington. Who says Washington alone? One. Who says Wall Street alone?
They're one and the same.
Who says both of them? For the first time in this conversation, we have consensus.
And Frank Luntz is with us now. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning. That was one of the most depressing sessions I have ever done.
One thing I want to say here, because I noticed this before the recession, that the middle class in this country felt that they had been left behind. And the recession only deepened that. And now we're here.
And the people feel like they're working hard.
Yeah.
They're sacrificing, living paycheck to paycheck. And yet it's getting more and more difficult for them. And the elites that are supposed to help them are doing nothing for them. Big business, big labor, big media, big politics, Washington, Wall Street, it doesn't matter. They have no allies anymore. There's no one trying to protect them. And they're just fed up.
You use the word depressing to describe that because...
Because I can't imagine ever leaving this country.
Yeah.
I don't care what you would pay me. $1 billion, 10 billion. I leave for 3 days and I'm homesick. And yet these people have given up, and that's the key to this. It's no longer that they are angry. We now have a segment, and I'd say it's between about 15 and 20%, who've said, you know what? It will never get better for me, and it'll never get better for the country.
What is the message, though, for policymakers to take a group like this?
Wake the hell up. And it just agitates me, Republican and Democrat aside. It doesn't matter what party you are. It doesn't matter what policies you are. At some point, you have to stop tearing each other apart. At some point, you have to stop tearing each other down and actually do something with the other side that requires compromise, cooperation, because if you don't do it, this anger, we're going to have a whole generation of people that will no longer believe that America is this great country that we all know it is.
What's distressing in that, though, is that this message has been out there, if you've been listening, for quite some time.
Yeah. But that's the whole point, is I don't think people listen. I'm grateful to you all for putting that on the air and for doing it as well as you all did. Because now the average American gets a chance to hear this. The problem is, I don't think people tell politicians this. They always tell them that they're great, or they yell at them. They never really tell the truth. That's the truth.
But are politicians listening?
I'm not convinced of it.
Yeah.
I watch what's going on in the campaigns, all the negativity.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we have a great debate season this fall, where you get a chance to hear the differences in a positive way, not just tearing each other down.
The cry has certainly gotten a lot louder, even though it's been around for a while, about corporate tax laws and the tax breaks some groups are getting. Frank, it was really interesting. Thank you for sharing with us this morning.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.